So I saw Inside Llewyn Davis and it was fucking fantastic. Leave it up to the Oscar season for some good movies to finally come out in 2013. What I like about the Coen brothers is that even though their films have very similar personalities, they don't just keep making the same film over and over. And whereas their appreciation for folk music had already been apparent since Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, this film stood out as being much more personal. Similar to the film Once, since the main character is a musician, we hear a lot of music throughout the film. And obviously it really helps your experience if you like folk music, but the film itself is far from dependent on having an audience that likes the music. That being said, if you have a particular distaste for folk music, I wouldn't recommend seeing it, but even if you're best described as impartial towards the genre, I would definitely recommend checking it out. The songs were able to hold an incredible resonance for me throughout and after the film, and whereas a lot of movies that have a clearly defined main theme seem to overplay it to death, the main theme in this movie was played enough times that it would stick with you, but not enough that you got annoyed by it. And it also helps that there was some clever variation with that theme. It wasn't a cut and paste carbon copy that was being played each time. Not only were there changes to the music, but there were changes to the context of the song as well. More than anything, this is a movie about understanding the main character. Throughout the film, not only do you learn more and more about him, but you learn more about the weight that his songs carry and you begin to understand what they mean to him. And after learning so much about this character, his struggles, and his inability to cope with the world around him, each song is able to become much more powerful towards the end of the movie. Now, this is a much more calm and grounded Coen brothers film than Fargo or No Country for Old Men, and that's not to say that nothing happens, but because it's so grounded in reality, it makes everything much more personal and realistic. It's a great choice for the story that they were trying to tell. Everybody's incredibly appropriately casted, and Oscar Isaac as the lead is phenomenal. All of the music is great, and the most fantastic songs come from the main character. Because the vast majority of the songs are variations of classic folk songs, it kinda sucks that the Best Original Song nomination can only really go towards one of them, and it's almost kind of ironic that that's the one song in the film that's deliberately portrayed as soulless mainstream garbage, but at least it's something. Any issues I had with the film were pretty minor and somewhat subjective. Like, you don't think it was important to show where the cat was going to the bathroom the whole movie? How long was it in the back of the car? Did you have to hold it while it was outside or what? Otherwise, it's incredibly difficult for me to find anything technically wrong with the film. Now, even though I love folk music, I'm trying not to give this film preferential treatment just because of it. If you look at my favorite albums from 2013, you'll notice I don't really favor any genre in particular. However, the film and the music genre both fit each other perfectly. And as much as you can claim that people that like folk music are biased towards liking this movie, I'd say it's just as biased to hate the movie because you have a distaste for folk music, because there's a lot more than the music to appreciate about the film. The cinematography and lighting stood out as incredible. The Coen brothers actually gave a shit about the correct notes being played in each song instead of having someone pretend to play it, and the writing and performances were superb. There's so many different quirks and mannerisms present in everyday conversations that the Coen brothers are able to recreate so well, and because of those details, it helps make everything seem more genuine and natural, which is particularly essential for this film because it aims to hit you close to home. It's not about trying to create sympathy for a character making you glad it's not you. It's about relating to the character in a way that hurts so much because it is you. This is definitely one of the very best films of 2013, and I'm giving this one a 9 out of 10.